Hey guys, I appreciate you guys for joining me on this one. On this one, we're going to go into the world of Ra'Keem. So sit back and relax and hear what he has to say. Ra'Keem, thanks for joining me. How you doing?
Oh, all is well, very blessed. Grateful for another opportunity to serve.
Dude, it's great to have you. And honestly, and we were just talking about this too, that I met you at what was it, Sac State, right? We met at
I
Sac
believe.
State. It's funny because I was actually out there prospecting people for the business that I was in, and you just happened to come catch my eye because you looked so steezy, so good, and I was like, "That's the guy." Um, you
Yeah.
were into fashion, right?
Yeah. I actually have an art background. My mom was Miss Sacramento. My sisters, both of my sisters were fashion models.
Oh,
One of them ended up being like a runway manager and getting into that. She's now an entrepreneur and more so interested in the sales aspect of things. Brother's really big into fashion. So being close to art has always been a second hand to me.
hmm.
I started off drawing and sculpting and eventually got to like canvas and charcoal and paintings. Um, and at some point between college and my path of entrepreneurship, when I really started taking it seriously, I got into music and studying the piano and voice. And so, of course, as I got more and more busy and got into business, and as those things came, probably the only art form that I'm working with now is probably singing, and then also developing leaders.
Okay, okay. So it sounds like your whole family is very fashion savvy. It sounds like, right?
Yeah, just different forms of art, different ways of getting into it. We come from a very humble background, um, but nonetheless, there was definitely talent. There was definitely like seeds of greater ability there.
Okay. And do you still do any kind of artwork on like the side? Because I do know, I did hear that you are very busy. Do you have anything that keeps you in the creative flow?
Um, right now, I've taken just a small break from art and really been focusing on developing leaders.
Okay.
To me, it has become a new vision to see how many willing individuals I can participate in a process that helps them blossom into whatever they're supposed to be for their communities and their families and
Okay.
everyone who just witness them.
All right. So developing leaders. How do you how do you get people to want to become a leader?
Well, it's not necessarily getting people to want. That would be more so the that would be like convincing, and I don't do too much convincing. What I more so work with is those who already have a who there's already a desire.
Okay.
While there are many different resources that I've been exposed to, and many different connections that I've been allowed to have, and different things like that can be very like really big assets for whoever's willing.
Hmm.
What I cannot give is desire. That
Okay.
has to be organic. That has to come from within.
I like
But
that.
once that is there, if there's any spark of curiosity, of creativity, of willingness to serve, then that is what we cultivate in and kind of plow the soil, so to speak, so that they can ultimately become fruitful.
Okay, so they can like sprout into like a flower, apple tree, whatever the plant. But the better question, I'm sorry, I should have said this, but how do you develop leaders? They got that curiosity. How do you advance their curiosity into becoming a full-fledged leader?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the main thing that we have to understand when it comes to leadership is I think there's a misconception. A lot of people think what a leader means is that I don't do things and other people do them for me. That's not what a leader means. A leader is somebody who, I mean, there's two basic ways you can lead with authority
Okay.
or you can lead with influence. And for me personally, it's been much more valuable and much more satisfying and productive as well to lead by influence. And what I mean by that is if I want you to grow into the best form of you, then it becomes my new mission to find out, first spend time with you, find out what you are, right? What are your strengths? What are your areas of improvement? I don't say weaknesses, I say areas of improvement, because everything can be cultivated
Of
into something
course.
better, right? What are the pitfalls, right? What are your hopes? What are your aspirations? You know, based on what you have already achieved, that tells me about your mindset, and based on what you hope for, that tells me about your heart, right? And so through things like this, through working with you, um, it becomes apparent where you are and what you need to go to the next level.
Okay, okay. So it
Yeah.
pretty much sounds like you're trying to make friends and you're getting those friends to come alongside you on this like path of success, right? Something like that?
Not necessarily friendship. I mean, friendship, it just sparks organically out of it, but
Mhm.
more so, when I think of leaders, I think of servants. And that's probably the difference between the style that I employ rather than the style that I've seen others employ. A lot of people focus on a "you can do it, we're conquerors, we're warriors" type mindset. And don't get me wrong, that has worked for many different ages and generations.
Right.
But in a time where information is public, where we know how wars ended, we know, right? We know what happens when we move forward with zeal, but without direction, without a plan, right? It's been more rewarding for me personally to have the mindset to serve.
Okay, so I'm sorry to say this. My internet cut out and dude, like
So,
that fucking sucks, dude. That really sucks, but I could just edit it out and do it, but I'm so
it's
sorry,
all
dude.
good.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Okay, so let's see. Man, that
So I
really
guess
threw me off.
I guess my short answer would be, as far as how do you make a leader? Um, First, we have to become a leader. And what I mean by that is set yourself up to be a leader of influence rather than a leader of authority.
Right.
Anytime you're dealing with authority, you're always going to have conflict. But anytime you're dealing with influence, you're dealing with passion, you're dealing with inspiration.
I love
So
that.
you're inspiring people to want to be what they can be, right? That is something that's missing from the marketplace, and it's missing from a lot of homes as well. And so when we lead in that facet, you see people experience mental growth. You see people who are not only growing as an entrepreneur, but they're growing as a person. And that's really important, because the path of becoming an entrepreneur is not one that is easy. It's one that requires a lot of rigor. A lot of people think to be in business is supposed to be a kick up your feet. That's not what it is.
Yeah.
In fact, those who pursue the path of becoming an entrepreneur will probably experience the most anxiety, the most stress, the most depression, um, the most change of circumstance, the most betrayal that they've ever experienced in their life. And so being in a productive, healthy, positive atmosphere that is very focused on growth, right? And practicing things that are not only good for you, but they're examples for someone to duplicate, right?
Yeah.
This is how we grow into leaders that continue to give back and then produce more.
I love that. I love that. And actually, when I was doing like some self discovery or just taking a walk in like the river, I figured out that one part of success is having like minded people around you so you could
Mhm.
be able to achieve that success.
Mhm.
Because just being it all alone, it might take a longer time to achieve that success because all this weight's on you and no one's like, hey, you got this type thing, you know? It sounds like you have like a blessed upbeat type of community. Is that true?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's nothing but it's positive, but it's also growth. It's also honest. It's also direct, because you cannot have those good things without having the truth, right? There's no love in deception.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so when you're honest and you're encouraging and you're building people up, right, with the appropriate things, that allows the person the opportunity to experience more growth in such a short amount of time, that even though an entrepreneur is a stress on the body and on the mental, they're refreshed when they're in this environment. right? And then they find themselves tuning back in just to be in the same community.
Okay, that's dope. So
Yeah,
you got yourself a community. I gotta ask, what is it that you currently do?
a
That
lot.
yeah, I was gonna
So
say that.
first, I'm a businessman. I own a car rental company. I own some Airbnbs. I'm getting into creating. How would I put this? I'm in the process of making courses of different things, and that's kind of the Ra'Keem Academy. What I would develop that for is to put out courses on different things that a person can go through and take these courses and learn to kind of develop themselves as an entrepreneur. Things for growing your Instagram account,
Okay,
monetizing your YouTube channel, different things that I've studied over the years that I haven't had a time to make a business into it, but I found really good resources on that. And so in my pursuit to being able to serve more people, I came across a lot of information, a lot of resources. A lot of it, I don't even have the time to even act on it. So I
damn.
started a network, start hiring a staff to where I can actually manage this. So this is the first time I've had a personal assistant.
Okay, shoot.
But it was definitely necessary.
Okay, so is that where you got the Instagram Rakeem the King? Because you got yourself an
Um,
empire going on right now.
that kind of that started from if I'm being honest, middle school.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just liked it because it rhymed. Rakeem is actually my middle name.
Oh, okay. Okay. Shoot. Well, I just thought because you got this car rental thing, the Airbnbs, all these things going on, and you're mentoring people.
Yes.
That's like a lot. And like
Oh
respect to
yeah.
you, man. Like you're building something huge, and I can't wait to see what it develops into. Um, how did you get
Oh no,
into?
all thanks to God.
Amen, dude. How did you get into Airbnbs?
Um, After I got into car rentals, I realized the city decided to do it with property.
Okay. And then car rentals, it like do you buy the car itself or really?
Yep.
Damn, look at you. Money bags, money bags. Okay. Um hmm, that's interesting. So you're
Well,
doing
really, my objective is just to serve more. And so, as an entrepreneur, there's one concept I try to um, sow the seed of, and it's to serve more. So, a lot of people will look at it like, okay, well, you made six figures in your car rental business. How can I make money? Don't think of the money. Think of how you can serve more. Even with that one business, I have six streams of income. So I'm always thinking about how can I serve? How can I serve the people who don't have transportation? How can I serve the people who do have transportation? How can I serve the people who need their cars worked on? There's so many ways that you can monetize one business and turn it into 6 or 7 streams of income. So I'm always thinking about how to serve more.
okay. Very ambitious. I love that. I love that. So I gotta find out because
Mhm.
you did start from fashion and now you're invoking on this journey of like a lot of things. What inspired
Mhm.
you to kick that off?
Well, I've always been in sales and I've always been an entrepreneur even before I was doing art. So when I was a young child, um, and by the time I made it to grade school, I didn't seen so much adversity. I seen so much suffering and tragedy in my own family and my own community that I quickly realized you need money to help support things. Without money, you can't do that. So since from the time of kindergarten, I was drawing and I would sell my artwork to the other kids, make money, or I would make toys because they would always confiscate the actual action figures we would bring to school, right? And then I would make them out of like the supplies that they would give us, the beads and rope and stuff like that. And so from that time, it grew to drawing artwork and portraits around sixth grade. That manifested. I started selling candy, middle school to high school. That turned into from selling candy to where did I go from there?
Hold on, selling candy.
Um,
Did you sell those? What's it called? Those world famous chocolate bars?
nope.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, like your
Nope,
own
nope.
candy or what kind?
No, I would go to the grocery store and just buy like suckers, candy bars and stuff like that and sell them like that. And so initially it was to help participate with the bills. And then over time it ended up becoming consistent. And so that was paying for instead of me and my, now we could catch the bus or we could catch the light rail.
Yo, can you hear me?
Okay, you kind of cut out for a second. Okay,
Okay.
you're starting to come back.
Okay. See, this one's messy, and man, I don't like that. Like, I'm trying to strive for like perfection on these things. I want the people to be represented very well, all this and that, and like for it to cut out like this,
Well,
it's like,
if that's the mindset that you have, then you're surely on your way if you're not already there.
yeah, it's
Yeah, actually, probably the most valuable thing that God allowed me to come across was the value of serving. And this is something that another word that is always uh, dropped and shared and written on the whiteboards is the fact that if you think about if you want are you if you're one who wants to be served, right?
mhm.
How many people are willing to serve you?
That's a good question. I guess it could go back to like the influence thing, right? How many people look up to you, like you, type of thing, right?
Right. So if right now you went through your phone and said, I would like lunch at exactly 1:30, who's going to bring me lunch? I'm not paying for it. Your gas, your transportation. How many people do you think are going to pull up?
Bro, nobody. 100%. I'm not even gonna
Right.
lie.
So no. I mean, that's the reality of the world that we live in. Now flip it. Let's flip it. Let's ask the exact opposite. How many people, if you told them, hey, at 1:30, I had a little free time, I wanted to bring you lunch. Is that okay? Don't worry about it. I'll pay for it. I'll use my gas. I just wanted to make sure you had something for lunch today. How many people would let you do that?
Honestly, that's funny. Everyone would be like, "Yeah, I'm down. Sure."
Everyone. So the reality of what we're exposed to is that if you have the mindset to serve, who don't you have access to?
Huh, that's really good. That's really good. I like that.
Right? If you have the mindset to serve, you can have the king as your primary contact in your phone. You can have his five-star general as the second contact in your phone. When you have the mindset to serve, there's no place you can't enter.
I'm gonna write that
Right?
down.
So even what that teaches us is even though we get into entrepreneurship, even though we get into business entrepreneur in business ownership, right? With the mindset that this asset is going to carry me. If we have the mindset that this asset will serve the community and how can I influence more people with this asset? It will become a point, and this is what happened in all the businesses. Because I started many businesses before, and started, fail, start, fail, start, fail. Of course, I had some success during it, but never to the point where I had that one business making six figures on their way to making this first million. So what I've learned was that if you are one who takes your asset and thinks of how you can serve your community in X amount of ways, you won't ever have too much. Like you will never have a deficit in your clientele. You will always have an overflowing abundance. And if you are one who becomes that, you consume that and you radiate that, then it gives your staff an opportunity to pick up on that, right? And then you inspire them to want to come to work.
Okay. So, in regards to you wanting to influence people, how do you start off? Like, let's say for me, I know nobody, I have no friends. How do you start getting people, around you, then to start growing that?
Well, the first thing is the world that we live in is a loveless world. It's really cold outside. It's very heartless. The one thing that everyone is missing is a true friend. And what do
Facts.
true friends do?
Man, they're always there for you. They're like
They're
they're
always there for you.
they're like
Not
family.
just that, they're they're closer than family. Your friends, and they've done studies on this. Your true friends have more influence and say so in your life than even your mother and your father.
That is true. Yeah.
So the reality is the way that we corner the market, the way that we serve our community, the way that we treat our family and friends by becoming a person of influence is simply one is just to give love. And what it means to love is not have a selfish love, right? Not have to improper love, right? Where you're thinking of your own desires. Love in the sense of whatever you need, you are worth me making the effort to get it and bring it to you. You're worth that sacrifice to me.
I like that. So you'd pretty much just go anywhere and show people love, I guess, and that way they could just like potentially be interested in you.
Mhm. Well, I mean, it starts off with a basic need, right? I mean, even for example, I met this woman the other day. We went to college together, and actually, she was in my philosophy class,
Okay.
and I did horrible at philosophy. It was not my forte. Um, yeah, it was. It did not work. I was so busy and thought of other things that I just could not focus.
Wait, hold on.
Nevertheless,
Isn't that philosophy about thinking?
that's debatable. That's debatable.
Okay, okay.
The type of thinking I was doing is for like productivity. That was more so thinking just to have a thought.
Okay. Yeah, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. You're fine. That's a good question because it sounds the same, but for the purpose that I was concerned with, I was getting information that was practical and could be applied for a positive result. Philosophy, from my experience, more so dealt with myths and deception and words that kind of sounded good but didn't really mean anything. Um, and I think a lot of people or don't realize how much philosophy they have in their life. Really, it's just philosophy in a nutshell is really hollow and deceptive.
really? Oh man.
Absolutely, yes.
How
If
so?
you once you start studying the principles of this world that you don't need a religion for, that you and your naked eye can observe, when you look at the relationship with animals, when you look at how just things carry this thing, the way things operate in natural order, right? A lot sometimes philosophy sows a seed in a person's head that just makes them have an improper view of the world and their role and responsibility to the world. And so for me personally, as I would study it, it was just like, this is not, it seemed more confusing to someone who was trying to add truth and add value to people's life that they could apply than anything. So every now and then I come across it. Every now and then someone tries to just, share a quote or something like that. I don't reject them or anything like that. It's just for me personally, I'm very bent on what do you need and how can I serve you the best, and but with the intent of you growing to the next stage of development that you need to be in.
Okay. And what? Well, let's see. Do you use any type of philosophy in your leadership type skills or to develop people?
Um, I wouldn't say philosophy only because, well, when people use the word philosophy, they sometimes use two different words. One actually referring to the Greek Roman uh, philosophy, right? The Aristotle, that kind of stuff, right? That's one definition. And then when other people say philosophy, they just kind of mean your mindset. So as far as the mindset, I do deliver a mindset, and I try to best exemplify it and then put it into practice through intentional, observable actions.
Okay. Okay. That's nice. So, man, dude, I love this. I just hate the fact that it keeps cutting out because like it
It's
ruins the
all
flow
good.
and all that. So I gotta I gotta ask: is there anything that you could provide us, the viewers, with something that we could
Mhm.
potentially implement today to get on that like path of success or to be on the
Mhm.
influential path?
Definitely stay around high value people. And high value people are not just rich people. High value people are those who are continuously giving of value. And the reason why I say that is because some people will look and they say, well, if you keep giving, won't people take advantage of you?
Right.
Can you take advantage of someone when that's their goal?
Oh, oh, that's good. That's good. I like that. I guess
If it
not,
is my intent to feed you, can you take advantage by eating at my restaurant?
dude. That's good. I like that because you
Right
are.
now, if I'm trying to capitalize off of you and I'm trying to make money off of you,
That's a different thing.
then my goal is different. So if you eat at my restaurant and I don't make a lot of money, I might be disheartened by that, right? But that's because my goal is different. But if my goal is solely to feed you and you eat here and I make this the best experience you've ever had eating, yeah, you help me achieve my goal.
I love that.
So I think for most people, having a clear and concise goal, right? And then having the mindset to serve. Instead of thinking, how can I take this goal? How can I achieve this goal and promote myself, right? How can I serve my way to this goal?
I love that.
If you do that, you will always have a wave of support. You will always. And that's what's been really my successes. No matter what business I started it, whether it was network marketing, car rentals, whatever, the impact that you leave ended up being so powerful that when it was time to reach out and say, hey, who would like to be put in this position? Oh, please incorporate me. I saw what you did over there, and that was a huge success. I'm all in, right? And that's what it comes down to, is serving. And when you serve and you genuinely care about the people you serve, that atmosphere of love, where could they find it?
Dude, I love that kindness and generosity. Like I could feel like the genuine energy that comes through that. But there's always someone that just likes to take
Mm-hmm.
and not give back. How do you,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, how do you know when to stop giving to that person, or how do you know when they're just
Mm-hmm.
like, I guess, a deadbeat type person?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you first have to understand this. Is it uncommon for people want to take and not give back?
Uh, I
Is
guess.
that an uncommon concept?
Yeah.
Actually, it's not. It's fact probably the most common concept. Most people want to take and not give back.
Really. Uh, I guess I'm surrounded by different kinds of people because most of the people that I surround myself with, it's like give and take type thing. And I
Mm-hmm.
haven't experienced too
Mm-hmm.
much of that. But
Well,
really,
I challenge you to this. This is how you'll test it. Become absolutely unpleasant to be around and see how much people give to you then.
I can't do that, dude. That's like,
Yeah. So, what that teaches us is that the love that we're experiencing is not unconditional, right?
okay.
It's very conditional. The love that you're experiencing is because you were involved in it, because you are maintaining that condition that I will continue to be this person that you met, right? And in exchange, you will continue to give me resources or time or whatever,
Okay.
right? Anybody can do that. Anybody can show love to people who are lovable. It's very easy. In fact, we all do that. That's why we have groups, social circles, we have factions, families, yada, 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 right? Now, it's different to find someone in their element and help them blossom into someone that realizes the value of giving. If people knew the value of giving, they would not be in a deficit. The reason why I give is because it comes to me in an overflowing abundance.
Okay.
And for me, my mindset as an investor, if I take this capital and I keep it to myself, it decreases in value. That's Grant Cardone. But if I invest it, whether it be in people or assets, it comes back with a return. And if I invest it in people, it comes back with a return of an obligation. They feel obligated to want to do something. That being said, do I understand their needs and their wants? If I don't know that, is it possible that they could take everything that I have and even the stuff I wasn't willing to give and they still haven't grown?
Huh. I guess it's possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's absolutely possible. So then that means as a person of influence in their life, someone that they keep returning to, right? That's God showing you you must be doing something right if they keep coming back to you. So if they're coming back to you, be very intentional on what you are giving and what you hope they could receive from it.
I love that. Oh my god, dude. I love that so much. I guess it would tie back to the restaurant example you were given. If your goal is to feed them, then that's pretty much your goal without expectation, right?
Right. So, for example, now if our goal was to feed and to make money, right? That's a different goal because that as a different dynamic. Now we have to change it. We have to tweak it a little bit, right? So now we have to put prices on the food. Now we have to advertise a certain way. For me personally, what I found in advertising and marketing was that if I provide a service that's so convenient, that's so understanding, that's so approachable, you will pay that inconvenience fee called my cost of goods.
You know, when you put it that way, it doesn't sound all that fair.
It doesn't. And the reality is, it's an exchange, it's a trade.
That is true. Yeah, I mean, we all have to make a
And
living.
that's why, but ultimately, that goes back to serving because if I know your needs, I know your wants. For example, I went to school for interior design and architecture. In interior design, they taught us that when you're making doors, you make them a certain height and a certain width, right? These are based on averages. It doesn't fit most people, or it doesn't fit all people, excuse me, but it may fit most people, right? So they got those dimensions by observing people. In the same way, if we have the mindset that I am a designer, and the interactions that people have with me are my house. How can I best format this house for this person to where they are so comfortable in my presence that they blossom into what they need to be and they're encouraged for what they need to be. Now, how do you deal with those who are leeches? First, you have to know where are they? Where do they need to be? Where are they trying to be? And also, where are they capable of going? Once you understand those things, you should have a vastly different answer from what you give them.
Okay, and how could you find that out from them? Like, let's say there's someone that you just like have some interest in. They're a leech per se, and they don't know exactly what they want, but they're interested in, what you have to offer.
Leech in what way?
Like,
Leech in what way?
they're just trying to take your time and energy to figure
You
out.
got to be specific.
Okay,
To give a specific answer, I need a specific scenario.
let's see. Let's say, for this example, I want to learn how to flip cars, and I go to you, but I don't necessarily take it seriously, and I'm just like listening to what you say, and then I don't necessarily just take action upon it, and I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. What do you
Doing what over and over again?
Just listening to you and not actually taking the action to flip cars? So it's just like I take notes and that's it. Would you consider that a leech?
No, I would consider that someone getting their daily dose because eventually they will burn out for that day and come back the next day and get it again.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So if someone is continually studying, well, as an entrepreneur, there's three things that you need to maintain. Just as you have a physical body, right? You have an entrepreneur. Think, I wish I had a whiteboard. I have a glass that I write on, but it's not as visible on camera. All right, we do not have a marker. Okay, so I'll give you two. You have your physical body. What do you need to sustain? What three things do you need to sustain your physical body?
You pretty much just need food, water, and air.
That's true. That's true. I would say breathing.
There's the air.
There's the food and the water, and the exercise.
All right. Yeah. See, I didn't think that because not everyone does that. But go on.
Right, but exercise is actually vastly important, just like the other two. In fact, exercise contributes to the your mindset, how well you feel about yourself, how confident you are. In fact, the early humans are born was our brain, the early excuse me, uh, for the early humans that walked the earth, their brain was formed while they were in movement. They were running, they were jumping, throwing spears, they were hunting, all actions. That's how our brain works. If you want to keep your brain sharp, keep being in action.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So going back to that's how our bodies maintain, right? Food, air, or food and water, right? Air, and then
Exercise.
action,
Okay.
exercise, right? Now, as your entrepreneurial body, right? Because you can be healthy as an entrepreneur or you can be unhealthy as an entrepreneur, right? It's the same thing. Food and water, air, and exercise. As an entrepreneur, you need to prospect. That's your action. You need to be out. You need to be influencing people, interacting with people, right? You need your food and water. In other words, you need an educational source, some input where you're getting value, right? And then you need your breathing. This is how you communicate, how you express yourself, right? This is your gratitude, your joy. Are you putting out hopeful thoughts? Right? Because those who think hopeful have hopeful actions, have a hopeful outcome. Right? So if someone is continually tapping into me, they're not a leech. They're just getting food and water. Now, what happens when for your physical body, right? What happens when all you do is consume food and beverage? What do you become?
Pretty much get fat.
You get fat. So what is the solution to that?
Oh, I see. Take action. Exercise.
You have to take action, exercise, right? So if they're continually getting information, right? Now it's time to exercise. Let's go jog together. Let's go for a walk together. This is when we go to the car lot.
Okay.
This is when we go talk to the owner of these cars. This is when we start building those relationships, right? This is when we do the leg work, right? We go to the mechanic. Hey, how's my rental doing, right? This is the exercise. And then when you've done all the legwork that you can do, when you've studied all the resources and materials that you can study, and you retire back to your place at your sanctuary, right? What is reoccurring up here? Was it words of positivity? Was it hope? Was it our aspirations for the future? Was it the mindset that I cannot think of myself, I'm serving in my community, right? Because of that mindset, we will always have clientele. If you have the mindset to serve, you will never be at a deficit. And your leaders will always be competent.
Dude, I love this. Man. So you pretty much answered my question, and you were like, I need specific, but yet you still answered it like seamlessly. And I love that because you just thought of it on the spot. And you're like, I kind of know what he wants, so I'm going to give him what I have. So you're like serving me the food and water, I guess you could say. And now I'm
Yep.
consuming it. And that,
And then as you share those words, right? And breathe that and breathe life into those actions, right? And then you move to carry that out and serve your community. And that's really what our duty and obligation to each other in the global village is, to study, to put into practice, be a good example for the next person. And then to speak, I don't want to say speak life because it's not like we're making people, but to speak those words, right? That we need to have in our head. And not deception, be honest, but be hopeful in your honesty.
of course.
Let there be passion in your honesty. Let there be aspiration, right? All these things, right? And when we maintain this environment where there's exercise, there's food and water, and there's breathing, we will always have a dynamic that's so special. No 9 to 5 can compete with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Shit, we're over time. I know you got stuff to do. I'm really sorry
it's all
about that.
good. It's all good.
But I love
Appreciate
everything.
your time, brother.
I appreciate yours, as I said earlier. I know you got a lot of things going on, but to close things off, because you're all about love, serving, and leadership. And like, I genuinely felt all that love and sincere passion that you have towards this. Like, honestly, this is the type of stuff I love sharing with people. And the fact that you're sharing
Yep.
it with me to eventually share it with other people, that's a blessing. That's a sincere blessing. But I gotta ask, what impact are you trying to make on Sacramento or the world? How far are you
Um,
trying to impact this
so
life?
no. That's a great question. That's a great question. Right now, me and my team are working on Project 100. We want to make 100 entrepreneurs in the Sacramento landscape, teaching them strategies in regard to this platform that I'm using now, that you see being promoted on my Instagram. So that's really the goal, is to help them develop as an entrepreneur, but also develop as a person as well. Because we need well-rounded leaders in the landscape. We're not just about money. If you have the mindset to give um, and put back into your community, you will always be rewarded for that. So
Okay, I love that. So I appreciate your time, man. Like, man, it was a
thank
really
you,
good
brother.
one, and I learned things myself too. Hopefully, the people have learned things. You dropped pretty much nuggets, gold bars, everything, and inspired me to be more
Oh
influential
no,
and
you're humble.
loving. Man, dude, I appreciate you for coming on. I'm gonna leave everything that's you in the description so people could find out more about you, and hopefully they can go on
Okay.
Ra'Keem Academy. But other than that,
See what I'm
appreciate you for
saying?
having on,
They're
man.
gonna have to tune in. They're gonna have to tune in. They're gonna start seeing Life by Design being promoted.
Absolutely, dude, I love it. Well, hey, man,
There you go.
thanks for coming on, and you guys, thanks for watching. Tune in for the next one.